The biggest challenge probably is isolation, that independent retailer working on their own business has tightened. They're probably having to do more work themselves. Maybe they have less staff. So they find themselves in an area where they don't have the resources, they don't have the contact. And over time, what happens is that they can get locked into this area of isolation, nobody to challenge their thought process, maybe not interacting with other retailers. And that can become a lonely place. And I think that's the biggest single challenge and the biggest single risk to independent retailers, is to keep the business energized, to keep themselves fresh, and to stimulate them. And I suppose that's a lot of what the program is about, is to start at the beginning with people and say, look, where are you as owner of the business yourself at? At what point in your business life cycle are you at? How energized are you? How are you focused? You know, it's very hard as an independent retailer, if you're on your own, to keep yourself motivated. You know, sometimes we talk about motivating staff, but what about who motivates the business owner? And that's the start point of the program, really, is to get the business owner into the right place, to help them to get into the right place. Because if the business owner is in the right place, if they are top of their game, the chances are that that retail outlet will also be performing well.
The program has been very beneficial to our business. One of the main things would be promotions, and actually having a promotional calendar and planning is huge, something we didn't have in place. But when we did, we found that it was hugely beneficial, and our sales were up.
The practical bits I think that the program brings, first of all, there's the interaction with other retailers. So suddenly, for 4 times over the program, they're around the table with 14 or 15 other retailers, challenging each other, listening to what others are doing, realizing that they're not the only one perhaps in the predicament that they're in, and also being inspired by others. I think the big thing that the program brings is a sense of a journey. And one of the things that we do at the beginning of each of the workshops is we take feedback from people in terms of, okay, what have you changed since we last met? That's refreshing. It's refreshing when you hear 15 people around the room all having gone off and done stuff themselves, and in most cases gone off and done stuff that has worked. So there's this sense of energy, there's this sense of achievement that comes from that, and I think that's one of the big things. Obviously there's the formal expertise that comes as part of that, and then what they learn from each other as well. One of the key challenges with this program when it was set up initially was there were requests to do it in the evening time, there were requests to shorten the days, and what we've learned is, in fact, because we've done all the other models, is that the full day model works best. So it sounds ironic, even though a retail owner is tight for time and they haven't got that time to step out of the business. It's the act of stepping away from the business for 4 individual days is the trick. When do retailers ever get time to look at their business? And the magic in the program is that the program compels the owner to come away from the business and to look at the business instead of being inside in the middle of it all. So that's part of the magic. So even though there's pressure on to get those 4 days out of the business, there isn't one retailer, and now we have done many towns, many dozens of towns around the country, there isn't one retailer that has come back and says, that was a mistake for me taking those days out. In fact, they say the opposite. They say that the taking the days out has compelled them to look at the business in a proper way and move on themselves.
And it's just kind of focused us really on what we want to achieve. And we have similar goals, but we were never trying to achieve them together, whereas now we are, so it makes much more sense. So that's probably the main thing.
That's one of the great things about retail in general, is there's a lot of stuff which is either low cost or no cost that people can just get out there and do. A lot of what we push and advocate through the program is about energy, and it's about energizing the business. That doesn't require money very often. It's ideas, it's thinking through, it's liaising with the customer base that you have, it's interacting with that customer base. And in many cases that requires no money or not a lot of money. And I think that's what a lot of the retailers get, and they're able to tackle as the first things as part of the program, which is to take the things that are low cost or no cost, tackle those first, see some results coming through, see the sales growing a little bit. The overall program ratings are typically in excess of 90%, and that's because retailers are actually able to convert some of the ideas into sales or into actions which will in turn into sales. And that's part of the magic.